Welcome to this week's episode of All Talk, No Pillows. My name is Ryan, and each week I hope to bring you fantastic and inspiring guests and even better discussions. This is a podcast by Unveiled Appeal, talking all things normalising nudity, naturism and body positivity. Coming up on this episode, we talk all things Diary of the Astronudes with it to the first. It's time for me to welcome them. You may not know their name or their face, but if you are a nudist or naturist and you follow Unveiled Appeal or other websites like Planet Nude, then you will definitely know this person's work. I'm delighted to welcome Ahmed to the podcast. How you doing, Ahmed?
Everyone, okay. So it's sunny day today. It's warm, so it's nice. It's nice.
Yeah, it's good to finally have you on the podcast.
Thank you for
It's
having me.
yeah. So I start every interview with this question, Ahmed. Would you say you're body confident or body positive yourself?
Um, I'd say generally yes. I mean, I've been to nudist events before, and I've been to nude beaches. I was actually at the nudist event on Wednesday. It's called Naked Cabaret. I think they've performed at World Naked Bike Ride before, and they've done a couple of performances, and they were doing one that's not part of anything. Uh, so I am. I mean, I'm fine with being naked in front of others, and I don't feel any shame or embarrassment by how I look. But I think in general, body confidence is, I think it's a struggle for everyone because uh, there are certain standards that are set by mainstream media for how a person should look like. And when you compare yourself, this is not how people really look like. I mean, even when you see models in like photo shoots and stuff like that, they have to prepare days in advance before they do it. And they have to like dehydrate and not drink any water for a few days, which is absolutely ridiculous just to look the way they are. So I actually find it inspiring to go to events like these because you see actual people in actual bodies. This is how regular people look like, and we're not very much different. I mean, everyone has scars, everyone has bits that are not like in line with everything else, you know. So it gives me a confidence boost to go to these events and see let's see other people, you know, happy and chill and confident with how they look like, uh, and just you know people who look like me. So yeah, I mean, body confidence. I've always it's something I've always struggled with, and it's something that nudism has helped with a lot. I've as a kid, I've went through a lot of body changes. This is not how I looked like 10 years ago or 20 years ago. Um, I've always like my weight always fluctuated between uh, extremes. So it's always something I've been conscious about my body, and nudism has been very helpful in that regard. I encourage anyone who is not confident because of how they think they look like to go to one of these events. I bet they're gonna come out with a very positive experience. They're gonna come out with much happier with how they look like than they did previously. So yeah.
Perfect. Um, what would you say to others who are maybe serious about attending naturist events.
What would I say to somebody who wants to go to a naturist event?
Yeah, if someone was maybe thinking about attending an event or
Yeah,
a resort,
well, go for it. Absolutely. I've been telling people all the time to give it a try, and I know the fears that people have. Like, what if somebody sees me? Then I know, well, they're also naked, so you're both on equal ground. Nothing, there's nothing to worry
yep.
about here. They're probably there for the same reason. Uh, but I'm not very confident about my body. Just go there and see the diversity of bodies and the diversity of people there. You're going to find yourself in play. This is going to be the right place because everyone looks like all different sorts of bodies, all different sorts of ages, all different sorts of genders. So you will find yourself there. Uh, I'm worried I'm gonna be scared when I get there. I've always found the community very welcoming, especially with first timers.
Mm-hmm.
Like if somebody's not confident yet, they or ready yet to take that step, they let them do it at their own pace. No one is gonna stand there and say, "Oh, you have to get naked now, or else we'll throw you out." Unless you are somebody who looks suspicious, like they're there just to look at people and not actually just trying to take the step. So for the most part, they're very welcoming and very understanding of that. This might be somebody's first time. They might not be. They might be a little bit scared. They might not be confident yet, and they're always very encouraging. So I tell them, yeah, just go for it. Try it once. If you don't like it, then it's something crazy that you've done, that you can tell your friends, oh, I've been to a naked event once and, hung out with naked people for a couple of
Yeah.
hours. But if you do like it, you probably go to more and, it might become part of your lifestyle. You might incorporate it into being naked at home and being naked at home helps as well. That's something I always tell people because we grow up being conditioned to wear clothes all the time, even at home. So just being naked in your own private space with no one else around doesn't have to be with anyone else. Just by yourself kind of helps you get into your head the idea that it's fine to hang around without wearing any clothes. That's something I always tell people: start at home, just do something. Watch a movie like you normally do, but just do it without any clothes and see how it feels. Just to get accustomed to that feeling of not having anything on you, and then maybe you'll be more prepared to go to an event or something like that if you're just kind of used to that feeling. So that's another thing as well. So yeah, I mean, if somebody's thinking about going to an event and they want to go, I just tell them just go for it. Just make sure it's an event that's sponsored by something like British Naturism or one of the reputable organizations, because you don't want to show up to a shady event that's not what naturism is about. But just make sure it's organized by somebody who's reputable, who has done this in the past, and just go there. And I can guarantee you they're gonna have fun.
One thing that I really like about
Sorry?
one thing that I like about events is that you don't know people's occupations or background or anything like that, because once everybody is
Yeah.
nude, you have to start with you have to start with getting to know someone properly. You don't have
You
any.
don't have any preconceived assumptions about
Yeah,
somebody.
yeah, yeah.
So you go there, yeah, that's absolutely right. I mean, you go there and you look at somebody and you don't know where they're coming from, what do they do, anything about them. They're not wearing a business suit, or they're not, uh, you don't have any preconceived notions or assumptions about somebody when you meet them there, and it makes conversations very interesting. And I think I tweeted about that. When I went to that event on Wednesday, I'm usually a very introverted person. I'm not very social in real life, uh, especially in like group events like these. I'm usually the person who sits quietly and just listens to everyone else. But when I went there on that day, I was like a social butterfly. I was starting conversations with people, asking about what they do, why they're here, is this their first time? And I think part of that is just being in my element in a way, and also uh, we're all we're all there for the same reason, because we enjoy the nudity, and we're nudists, so there's some comfort in that. You're not talking to somebody who might think of you in a way that you might not like. You know that the person you're talking to has kind of the same mindset as you are, so you're more comfortable talking to them and being yourself. Not having to censor parts of who you are, or trying to go around things. So yeah, I mean, that's the beauty of going to these events, and taking part in these. The only assumption is that we're all there because we enjoy this kind of lifestyle, and we have the same mentality, but no other assumptions about what we're doing in life, what our job is, any of that is just gone once you're in one of these events. So yeah.
Awesome. So let's talk about diary of the
Yeah.
diary of the Astronudes. I practiced saying it, and now I can't say it whilst I'm recording this episode. It's 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 brilliant.
Yeah, Diary of the Astronudes. So I've been a nudist for. I mean, I've been familiar with the lifestyle and kind of calling myself a nudist for about 20 something years now. But I didn't start making comics until uh, 2014, so about 10 years ago. This is when I actually started. I've always wanted to do it, but it's something that I never got to do, and I actually started putting effort into it in 2014. And at the time, I was just making, just regular stuff, superhero stuff and things like that. I wasn't making anything with any nudist themes. And then I think in 2018, I came across a couple of comics that kind of had that theme. I came across out of all places, an Avengers comic book that had Iron Man fight. There's a series called Ecstatics, and there was a crossover called Ecstatics versus the Avengers. And they have Iron Man and another character from that team fight in a nudist campgrounds. And it's a humorous take. So because they're in a nudist campground, both characters, the Iron Man and the other character, have to take their gear off, and their armor and everything. They have to fight naked, and the fight ends instantly because Iron Man, Tony Stark, can't operate without his armor. Otherwise, his heart goes into cardiac arrest. And the other character also had the armor for a reason, and once the armor was taken off, they couldn't operate as well. So I found it very funny that once they were both naked, there was no fighting, which is good. Maybe we should all do that. And the second thing I thought, if Marvel is making a comic with a nudist theme, and I am somebody who makes comics and is also a nudist, maybe I should do that. I should be the one doing that, not Marvel, not somebody who has no relation to nudism. And then I came across another comic called Get Naked, which was published by Image, again, mainstream publisher, and it was an autobiographical comic about a writer who's been to different places around the world and was talking about how nudity is perceived in each culture. So, like, he went to Japan and he went to the onsen baths there, where nudity is permissible. He went to like Scandinavian countries, and he was talking about how in saunas and in the health clubs there, everyone's naked. Went to nude beaches, and it was very positive. And each segment had a different artist, and the art was very beautiful. And again, this kind of inspired me. Maybe I should do something like this. I didn't have an idea in mind, but I knew that I wanted to make a comic with a nudist theme. And then the idea for Astronudes, it started as a joke, really. I was trying to do a riff on the Strange Tales Marvel comics from the 60s, where they'd have, like people panicking over a monster emerging from a spaceship or something. So I thought I'll do that, but instead of the monster or the alien, it would be two naked people from a different time. This is what's freaking people out, because nudity freaks the people who are not nudists out most of the time. So I thought I'd do that, and I posted it as a parody. I thought this is something different from what I usually do, and people received it in a very positive way. I didn't expect people to, because most of my following on social media are Egyptians, and the nudity there is much more of a taboo than it is here and in the West. But they found it very humorous, and they all started planning to do more of these. I said, maybe if I get good ideas, I have no idea where I'm going with this. And then a couple of weeks later, I was flying somewhere, and in the airport, you have to take off your shoes and take off your jacket and take off your belt, and so I did another pin-up with the characters. So I decided to use the same two characters, the Astronudes, going through the security check of the airport easily while everyone else is struggling with their clothes. And I wish we could all fly naked, because it would make life easier. And it kind of started rolling from there. So I started doing a series of spin-offs, and then I started to expand these into one-page stories, and then longer, 4-page stories. And I was publishing them online at the time. And once I had 30 pages, I always wanted to put some of it in print eventually. So once I had a decent amount of stories, I did an ending explaining how they arrived, what happened exactly, and kind of an epilogue to wrap the story up, this part of the story up. And I bundled it together, and I ran a crowdfunding campaign to publish the story in print, kind of like a pre-order, because obviously printing is expensive, and I needed to make sure that somebody's actually going to buy this. So and it was quite successful. It was my first campaign ever, and I think I sold around 500 copies, which is great for a comic nobody knows about. So and yeah, this is the story of how it all came to be. I wanted to do something, and I had an idea, and I kind of rolled with it and saw where it led. I stopped making Astronudes for a little bit in 2023 because I got busy with other projects. But now I'm publishing a monthly strip, like the Sunday newspaper strips, on Planet Nude, which is a platform that it's like a hub for different things, art, nudist. It's all nudist stuff, but it's like art and reviews of films and articles and history. So it's a lot of things. And so I published them there. Evan, who runs the platform, and we've been friends for a couple of years now, approached me in April and said he's thinking about doing a section on Planet Nude that is dedicated to comic strips, and if I'd like to take part. And I said that's perfect because I've been struggling to find time to do Astronudes beside the other like mainstream work that I'm doing. And this would be a way to kind of put a deadline to myself. Like I have to do one every month, and it has to be delivered on that date. So having somebody impose a deadline on you make me kind of find the time for it. And we've been doing this for 6 months now. And again, hopefully, once I have like a decent amount of stories to print a book or something, I'll print a second book. I have the cover and the name and everything planned in my mind. I just need to get there and have it ready.
That is awesome. And I see a lot of people online very, very often reposting or retweeting, whatever they're calling it now, and everybody's enjoying it, and it's. I mean, the 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 pictures and the art and stuff is also very impressive. Oh, I don't think a lot of people realise this, Ahmed. It's just you. It's just you that's coming up with this.
Yeah. So the story of I forgot to explain the idea of the story while talking about how it developed. So the characters are two. They come from a planet just like Earth where clothes didn't exist, and they just everyone's naked there, and they have developed a way to. They discovered that there are other dimensions, like other parallel Earths, like theirs, and they develop a way to travel to them. And on one of their missions, they run into a malfunction. Their ship gets they go to like a war planet, and somebody kind of shoots at the ship, and it gets destroyed. Not destroyed, but like breaks. So they have to do an emergency landing, and they find this Earth, which is kind of like the 1950s Earth in a way. And the reason I said it in the 1950s is because, again, this was more of a tribute to the Marvel comic books from the 50s and the 60s. But also it's a tribute to like nudist camp films, like Diary of a Nudist, and there was a bunch of nudist films in the 1960s, and I've always liked the idealistic view that they've represented nudist camps. Like it's always an outsider who goes to one of these camps, and it's like a utopia in there. Everyone's nothing sexual or anything at all. It's just everyone's just like living happily naked, and there's no shame or anything. So I always like this very idealistic view of nudism that these films had. So So this is why I said in the 1950s, and they go there, and it's all the adventures happen while they are basically fixing the ship to carry on with their adventures. But given that it's been 3 years, 4 years now since they've been on that Earth, I think they kind of like it there. Uh, so yeah, this is the basic idea, and it's just usually when the stories are told, it's somebody who isn't a nudist who goes to one of these to a nudist camp or something, and uh, it's like the outsider, our perspective is the person who is not a nudist. But I wanted to do something that's more of a critique of us. So these the point of view characters and my series are the nudists, and they're looking at our culture and how it operates. You know, all the stuff like we're fine with nude art, for instance, in museums, but we're not fine with us being nude ourselves.
Yeah.
So it's their perspective. It's kind of a critique of our culture and the different ways in which nudity is fine in some places but is not fine in others. So yeah, that's the basic idea, and what I'm trying to say through the series as well.
It's brilliant, mate. Brilliant. It's very, very funny as well at times.
Thanks.
Uh, so it was an interesting, point that you made just then, about why people are happy to see like nudity at museums and art galleries and stuff, but they don't have the same attitude towards it when it's in person.
Yeah,
That's
it's a bit of a double standard.
yeah.
It's nudity is permissible in certain places or certain aspects, but in general, it's accepted. It's nudity in film and in magazines and all that. It's accepted, but the attitude of people towards casual nudity, like nude beaches and stuff, is very different. So, where do you make the separation? Yeah, I think culture and religion play the biggest part in when it comes to shape how people perceive nudity and what they think of it. But yeah, hopefully that's going to change. We are trying to change it.
Hopefully through what we do and what organisations like Naturism do. Hopefully we can bridge that gap that we're kind of missing just now. Like, we've got to make people aware that we understand what multiple generations have been.
Yeah, I think the UK has been the UK specifically has been taking a very interesting approach in recent years. Like even in television, you've got like British Naturism was in the morning show a couple of times, which is I found a very positive thing and very unusual. It's not something that I would normally expect from UK media, and also I think there's a lot of depiction of positive non-sexual nudity in UK media in recent years than it used to be. Like again, you'd get the occasional Sun magazine article that has puns and sexual puns and shocking headlines. But there are more people talking about it. It's being portrayed in a more respectable fashion in the mainstream media. Like they're not making jokes about it. They're actually telling people's experiences and how positive they are. So yeah, it's been interesting seeing that happen in the last couple of years. And it's great. I mean, if we carry on in that direction, then I think that public nudity, on more beaches and in more places will be more accepted in the coming years.
I think we've covered everything that I wanted to cover, unless you've got something else that you want to share or
I
talk about.
As I said, I'm continuing with Astronudes on Planet Nude. The plan is to carry on doing the strips monthly and publish them on Planet Nude. And again, once I'm thinking maybe like 30 of them or something. I'll just put them because I like to see my work in print. I still, as you can see, I've got a lot of books in the back, so I like to buy things in print, and I prefer that over reading them on a screen. So once I have a decent amount of these to make a small book, I'm planning to print them, and yeah, I mean, Astronudes is my personal thing. It's not a project I'm doing with somebody else, or it's not somebody else's characters. So they are my characters that I've created, and they communicate my feelings, and even what I go through, like day to day, like the scripts I've been doing with Planet Nude are. If you read them, they're talking about the weather, the summer weather in the UK, for instance, how it rains and then it stops, and it rains and then it stops. So there's one about that. Stuff that happens around the house. So that they're my way of just like kind of documenting that into art and making a story out of it that I hope people will enjoy and it will resonate with people. So yeah, you can read them there, and I'm on social media, AstroNudesComic. This is where I publish updates about anything, whether the stuff I publish on Planet Nude or if there's something, upcoming, like a book or an event or maybe an ad or something. So you can follow me there for updates. And I hope people read the comics. I hope people enjoy them. Hopefully, maybe it will inspire some people to try this out, in an upcoming event or something. Thank you for having me today. Always happy to do a Nudist podcast because I don't need to get prepared. I was just, I don't need to get dressed or anything. I'm just the way I am.
I will leave all the links and social media and stuff down in the description when this is posted. And if there's anything else by the time I post this, then everybody can find it down in the description. I really need to practice saying that, don't I? It was a pleasure to have you on the podcast, Ahmed.
Thank you for having me.
I hope you have a wonderful day.
You too. I'll be working, but hopefully you have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you.